100K.
Woo! 100K.
I feel amazing. I'm so happy. I train a lot for this fight. I told you guys, I'm sure it is going to have a level. I'm definitely high level. I'm sure you now I'm enjoying.
When proving he belongs among the elite. Fans know Oliveira always brings fireworks, and the idea of Lopes stepping in creates the kind of high-stakes drama that MMA fans live for. But that's not all the buzz. Robert Whittaker has his sights set on Sean Strickland, aiming to bring a huge fight to Sydney next February. The clash of styles and personalities between Whittaker and Strickland could deliver one of the most talked-about middleweight bouts in recent memory. With so many moving pieces from Oliveira's uncertain opponent to Whittaker's pursuit of Strickland, the MMA landscape is heating up fast.
Yeah, I definitely find it funny. Sometimes, sometimes some of the things he says is a bit outlandish or a bit out there. But I don't know. He's a character for sure.
And fans are left wondering which of these fights will actually materialize. Don't miss out on all the latest updates, breaking news, and insider reactions from the fight world. Stay locked in and subscribe to MMA Desk, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment. Ronda Rousey was once the biggest star in women's MMA, and for a long time she was considered unbeatable. Her fights often ended in the first round, and her judo and armbar submissions became legendary. However, things changed when she lost back-to-back fights to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes. After her last fight in 2016, where Nunes knocked her out in just 48 seconds, many people thought she would never return to the UFC. Since then, she moved on to other things, like professional wrestling and starting a family. Recently, though, she surprised everyone by hinting at a possible comeback.
I couldn't because, well, first I felt like I had to come back for another fight because I felt like I owed it to the fans, right? And everyone that had believed in me. Maybe I needed to give them an example of overcoming adversity, but it was to the point where the next fight, the first time I got touched, I was out on my feet.
On social media, she posted training clips showing her working on her boxing and looking sharper. For Rousey, this time feels different. There's no crushing pressure to carry women's MMA on her shoulders, no need to prove she's invincible. Instead, she's enjoying the process again, laughing and smiling during training sessions.
All right, Ronda Rousey has addressed her future on a potential return to fighting and the UFC, and also addresses a big question a lot of people have had. Will she fight on the White House card? She talked about that too.
Would she face an old rival like Miesha Tate, or would the UFC match her against a fresh contender to test where she stands? Whatever happens, her potential return is one of the most intriguing stories in MMA today. Cain Velasquez is remembered as one of the most dangerous heavyweights to ever step foot in the octagon, but his career will always be marked by the what-if question. According to Daniel Cormier, who trained closely with him, Velasquez was unlike anyone else he had ever seen. From his early days as a young wrestler transitioning into MMA, Cain pushed his body to extremes. He was known for his insane cardio, which is rare for heavyweights, and he could wrestle, strike, and mix everything together better than almost anyone. Cormier said Cain would have gone undefeated if it weren't for the constant injuries that plagued his career.
What was Cain Velasquez like coming up as to become the champ?
The best. I've never seen anything like it. I still today have not seen anything like it.
Just like the work ethic, or just the training?
The training, the skill set, the ability. He really could do it all. If he didn't have all those injuries, he would be by far the greatest heavyweight of all time.
These injuries weren't just bad luck. They came from his willingness to do anything coaches asked, no matter how punishing. If his strength coach told him to leg press 800 pounds, Cain would do it without hesitation. That drive made him a monster in training, but it also caused him to break down over time. His battles with injuries, shoulders, knees, back, kept him out of the cage for long stretches and prevented him from defending his belt as often as fans wanted. When Cain was healthy, he dominated opponents like Brock Lesnar and Junior Dos Santos, proving he had the tools to rule the division. But with so many gaps in his career and his body failing him, fans never got to see his full potential.
I want to give a sincere thank you to my friend, my brother, and Cain Velasquez. There was never a time, guys, that Cain Velasquez didn't show up for me.
For many, Cain will always be the heavyweight that could have been the greatest of all time if only his body had allowed it. The Fighting Nerds, a group of Brazilian fighters known for training and competing together, have had a rough stretch in the UFC recently. All 4 members suffered losses around the same time, which was tough both for them as individuals and for their team spirit. Carlos Prates dropped a decision to rising star Ian Gary, but he bounced back in a big way by knocking out veteran Jeff Neal with a spinning back elbow. That highlight reel finish reminded fans why Prates is seen as one of Brazil's most dangerous strikers. Mauricio Ruffy, another member, wasn't as lucky. He was submitted by Benoit Saint-Denis, a relentless fighter who has been making waves in the lightweight division. Hayo Bahayo, a talented middleweight, lost a decision to Nurmagomedov in a fight where he struggled to implement his game plan.
Actually, this didn't like make me feel anything, because as I said to you, I have no ego, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my mission in life, to control my ego, to be a better man, a better athlete, a better father, a better brother, a better son.
Gene Silva also took a tough loss when Diego Lopes stopped him with strikes. After these setbacks, Hayo Bahayo stepped up as a leader for the group. He gave a motivational speech, reminding his teammates that losses are part of the game and that what matters is how they bounce back. He told them to stay focused on their training, to use the losses as lessons, and to come back stronger. For young fighters, losing can feel like the end of the world, but with the support of teammates, it becomes easier to keep moving forward. The Fighting Nerds are still a young team, and while this was a difficult chapter, it could also be the spark that pushes them to greater success. Mario Bautista has been making a name for himself in the bantamweight division, and he's now set to face Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 321.
Umar Nurmagomedov. He had a close fight with Merab. I felt like the right decision was made, but I also feel like if it was scored as a whole, man, the damage that Umar, you could almost go that side. What's next for a guy like Umar?
There's no excuse. You have to give the flowers to Merab. He won. Umar had 5-week camp. He fought him honestly with a broken hand. I think Merab is one of the best fighters in the world.
Umar comes from the famous Nurmagomedov family and has been seen as one of the top prospects at 135 pounds. Many fans assume he's unstoppable because of his connection to Khabib, but Bautista doesn't see it that way. He believes people are giving Umar too much credit just because Khabib was such a dominant champion. Bautista said that while Umar and his cousins are talented grapplers, it's unfair to expect all of them to be at Khabib's level. He also thinks Umar might be under extra pressure in this training camp because of the Nurmagomedov family's reputation. After Usman Nurmagomedov, another cousin lost in Bellator, Bautista believes Khabib and the team will push Umar harder than ever to avoid another slip-up. Bautista sees that as a potential weakness. In his view, a camp filled with pressure and heavy expectations could backfire and make Umar fight tight instead of free. Bautista, on the other hand, feels confident in his preparation and says he has all the tools to shock people. For him, this isn't just another fight, it's a chance to prove that he belongs among the top contenders in one of the UFC's toughest divisions. Fans are excited because this matchup pits a respected underdog against a hyped prospect, and the outcome could reshape the future of bantamweight rankings. Conor McGregor remains one of the most talked about figures in MMA, even when he hasn't fought in years. His potential UFC comeback has everyone guessing whether he'll still look like the notorious fighter who once ruled 2 divisions. BKFC president David Feldman has been watching closely because he believes McGregor could eventually fight in bare-knuckle boxing. According to Feldman, McGregor is currently the most focused he has ever seen him. He's back in the gym regularly, training hard, and seemingly taking his return seriously. Feldman explained that McGregor's UFC fight next year will decide what happens next. If Conor looks good and gets a win, it could set him up for another UFC bout, but it could also open the door for a huge payday in BKFC. Feldman said if McGregor joins BKFC, it would instantly double or triple the company's value because of his star power. Investors would pour in money just to be part of such a massive event.
With regard to Conor McGregor, what is the holdup with his return?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter was over back in August, and I can't imagine the plan was for him to be out as long as he's been.
Well, the first problem was that he broke that shin bone. He was recovering from that. That was one of the reasons we had it. And the other problem is he's fucking rich.
McGregor himself could benefit financially far more than he would by sticking only with the UFC, but all of that depends on how he performs in his UFC return. Feldman is confident the UFC will give him a matchup that favors him, avoiding dangerous young fighters and instead picking someone who makes sense at this stage of McGregor's career. The key is whether Conor can stay disciplined and keep up his training for the long stretch before fight night. For now, fans are holding their breath, waiting to see if the old McGregor really is back. Alex Pereira has quickly become one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC, known for his devastating power and calm demeanor inside the octagon. As he prepares for his rematch with Magomed Ankalaev, Pereira revealed that fans have only seen about 5% of what he's truly capable of. This comment has sparked excitement because many already view him as one of the most dangerous strikers in the sport. Pereira's background in kickboxing, where he was a world champion, gave him the tools to finish top fighters like Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz. But according to him, there is much more to his game that people haven't witnessed yet. He's been working on improving his wrestling, grappling, and conditioning to round out his style. The idea that he has hidden skills he hasn't shown yet makes the rematch with Ankalaev even more interesting. Ankalaev is a strong wrestler with solid striking, so Pereira knows he has to bring new weapons to win. By saying fans have only seen a small piece of what he's working on, Pereira is hinting that his evolution as a fighter is far from over. It also adds to his mystique if he has been able to achieve so much while only showing a fraction of his ability. What will happen when he reveals more? That's the question on everyone's mind as this highly anticipated rematch approaches. Cyril Gane's journey in the heavyweight division has been filled with highs and lows, and he's now preparing to face Tom Aspinall for the title. Gain has fought some of the best in the world, including John Jones and Francis Ngannou, but those fights exposed his weaknesses. Against Ngannou, he looked overwhelmed by the pressure of the moment and admitted that the media attention and expectations weighed heavily on him. Facing John Jones was different. It was still a huge fight, but he felt calmer and more composed. Even though he lost, he gained valuable experience from those matchups.
All right, now, UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall will face Cyril Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the #1 ranked heavyweight.
For Gane, every fight is a lesson, and he believes he is mentally stronger now because of those challenges. Many fans have been frustrated by how the heavyweight division has been on hold with Jones injured and inactive, but Gane says he hasn't been too bothered. He's learned patience from past situations, like when fights were canceled during the COVID pandemic. He says the key is to stay professional, keep training, and trust the process. Now that he has a title fight lined up with Aspinall, he's focused on the opportunity in front of him. Gane knows Aspinall is young, fast, and skilled, but he also believes his own experience and growth will give him an edge. This fight represents a fresh chapter for the heavyweight division, and Gane wants to prove he belongs at the very top. Robert Whittaker is one of the most respected middleweights in the UFC, and he has his eyes on a fight with Sean Strickland. Whittaker, known as the Reaper, has fought the best in the division, including Israel Adesanya and Yoel Romero. He's a technical striker with toughness and heart, and he believes a fight with Strickland would deliver fireworks. Whittaker especially wants the fight to happen in Sydney, Australia, during the UFC's February event. For him, fighting at home is always special because the crowd gives him extra energy and motivation. The problem is, he isn't sure Strickland would be willing to come. Strickland has had some issues with the Australian government in the past, and Whittaker doubts he has much interest in traveling there. Still, Whittaker says he has wanted this fight for a while because he thinks their styles would mesh perfectly. Strickland's pressure and volume striking would force Whittaker to dig deep, while Whittaker's speed and precision would test Strickland's defense. Fans love when two fighters with completely different approaches clash, and this matchup has the potential to be a classic. Whittaker has made it clear he's ready, motivated, and just waiting for the UFC to make the call.
The only sure thing in the UFC is that winning opens doors. And, my focus, as you said, my focus is solely on this Saturday night, getting my hand raised, and I'll worry about the rest afterwards.
Diego Lopes has been turning heads in the UFC with his aggressive style and willingness to fight anyone, anytime. Recently, with Charles Oliveira's opponent pulling out of UFC Rio due to injury, Lopes immediately volunteered to step in. For him, the chance to fight Oliveira is a dream come true. He called Oliveira a legend and said he would never turn down such an opportunity. Lopes has built his reputation on being fearless, out negotiations for one of the biggest fights ever, only to retire after getting everything he asked for. The fan felt Jones made the UFC and others look foolish, and that he deserves the backlash. Another comment was about Daniel Cormier, saying his dislike for John Jones is obvious, and that he probably just wants to see Jones lose badly. The person admitted they feel the same way. They'd like to see Jones knocked out in a high-profile fight. The final top comment was about Rampage Jackson, criticizing how he presents himself in public these days. The fan felt that with every appearance, Rampage is hurting his own reputation and making people remember him less as a legendary fighter and more as someone who can't let go of the past. These kinds of comments show how passionate MMA fans are. They don't just watch the fights, they follow the drama, the personalities, and the stories that surround the fighters. Whether it's Jones, Cormier, or Rampage, fans love to share their thoughts, and it often sparks heated debates online. MMA never slows down, and veterans like Robert Whittaker continue to chase meaningful fights that fans are eager to see. Meanwhile, big names like Conor McGregor and Alex Pereira keep the spotlight bright, with talk of comebacks, rematches, and untapped potential. The heavyweight division is starting to move again, bantamweight is heating up, and everywhere you look, fighters are pushing themselves for the next big moment. What makes MMA so unique is that it isn't just about wins and losses, it's about stories, risks, and legacies being built in real time. Every week brings new twists, unexpected challenges, and opportunities that fighters are willing to grab with both hands. With so much happening, fans know they can never look away for too long. For daily MMA news, fight updates, and behind-the-scenes stories, Make sure to subscribe to MMA Desk and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment.